This Veterans Day comes as we remember the legacy of America's top soldier and later top diplomat. General Colin Powell was a retired four-star general who became the country's first black Secretary of State and chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He died almost a month ago from COVID-19 complications as he battled blood cancer.
Joining us now is someone who had a personal relationship with General Powell, Academy Award winner Lou Gossett Jr. He also served as spokesman and is the honorary chair for the Montford Point Marines, the first black recruits for the Marine Corps. Lou, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm glad you could be with us. On this Veterans Day, what memory can you share with us about your time and your friendship with Colin Powell?
Well, he's the one that started it in a sense because he was impressed, I guess, with Officer and the Gentleman. So when I used to go to the Kennedy Center honors, he would seek me out. We'd have lunches and get really close. We talked about sports, talked about childhood, we talked about New York. And it's the kind of a way relationship really should start here today. Because we're not looking at our positions, but there was a friendship that was wonderful there. I remember we were doing a commercial for some kind of product. We were in Nashville, Tennessee, at the old opera. And I'm standing there waiting to meet him. And all of a sudden, these hands went behind me and went like this. And I turned around and it was Colin Powell. That's how it started, how the relationship started. From then on, we started to tell jokes and rely on one another as if we had grown up together. So we didn't have a long-term relationship, but a very deep one, very deep brotherhood relationship. I had that with a few people, and he was one of the tops. I remember him introducing me to this General Schwarzkopf. I remember that. And he identified himself with what I played, and he wants to know how I got to be that person. And I told him that I had trained every day in San Diego with Gunny Dower, Rich Dower, who taught me everything but smoking the Camels and drinking the beer. But that man was quite a very special man, very special heart.
And Lou, he had a special heart indeed.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk to you about the other role that you have played, and that is you've been the spokesperson for the Montford Marines as well as their honorary chair. Talk to us about that, please.
Oh, that's such a very special story that everybody should know about. These all black Marines in Carolina, and they didn't have no town to hang out with because it was a racist kind of town. So it was a signal for them to just strengthen themselves up. And I met them, and I talk to them today. As a matter of fact, I talk to them once, at least twice a week, and they still hold that strength and personality and character today. Though their children, their wives, they're very special men and women. And as long as they're here, so am I. It's just a wonderful bunch of gunnies and Marines and stuff. I love them to death. I'll see them at least once a year, especially Gunny McGee. He's the Gunny of today. I met them all. There's a lot of affection there with them and Colin Powell. Yes, ma'am.
Lou, most people may know you from your film career, but you have an early stage career as well. You were in one of the original productions of Raisin in the Sun, and you also wrote a song called Handsome Johnny, and that was a bit of an anti-war song. So how do you place that song in the context of your relationship with the military today?
Well, Handsome Johnny is always the guy that gets drafted with a new weapon, new sophisticated weapon. And after a while, you stay on this planet long enough, you realize that perhaps war is not the way to go to get peace. Handsome Johnny's got a new weapon and a new place to fight, even today. So now I've come with a foundation. It's being formed here in Georgia now because it's finished in California. But it's the mindset that one race, the removal from existence of one race is superior to another. We need, just like we had with Colin Powell and Montford Point Marines, they fought for the country, not for the black country, but for the country. He was the Secretary of State for the country, United States of America. That's our mentality for all people in this country. And we can't have any conflict because they are not like us. We are one nation under God, indivisible, and we have to teach these to our children. If we don't, we're going to get to what it seems to be promised, a dead end. We need one another to save one another desperately. It's going to take mankind to
Yeah,
save
Lou,
mankind.
you're absolutely right. In the past, you've told me about that, how we would all be on like a 747, and it doesn't
Absolutely.
matter if
That's
you're
my
black or
favorite phrase,
white.
yeah.
If it's going down, we're all going to go down with it. So how do you lift this
Everybody
country
just
up,
got to say,
especially
"They've been
on
fighting
this
over who's gonna
Veterans
be
Day,
first
real
class."
quickly?
Absolutely, sir.
It's right, fighting over who's going to be first class.
It's like where I talk here in Georgia, it's a very pleasant surprise. You get the bobblehead dolls, people buttons. And it's amazing who are agreeing that this makes sense and what they're doing does not. So it might be an end of an era, fortunately the beginning of another. We need one another desperately. We need to take all this stuff, even though we feel justified to keep them, all those resentments and all those hatreds have to go in the garbage right now because we are all threatened. I believe that God might have done that for us because we need to be together, save one another with the best of our ability, become one nation under God, indivisible. That's the only answer we got.
Lou, that is
That's it.
absolutely actually one of the messages that Colin Powell also shared throughout his career
Absolutely.
about winning the peace, what winning the peace really
Yes,
means.
ma'am.
And Lou, thank you for reminding us about that today. Folks, you've been listening to Academy Award-winning actor Lou Gossett Jr. Thank you again for joining us.